What's up? Welcome to another industry insider interview here on the FiveTwenty Collective Podcast. As always, our interviews are being sponsored by the Bookkeeper 24/7. Check them out at thebookkeeper247.com, where they have a lot of great Christian hip hop content and coverage over there. So make sure you go and support those guys, the Bookkeeper 24/7. And this month, I'm super excited for this one, guys. We've got, he's one of the main dudes in this space, and you can learn a lot from him. If you watch him on Friday nights, I know you get a lot of good insight. But it is OnBeat Music, Mr. OB from Rapzilla's Critique Fridays, joining me now on the Track Stars Podcasting Network phone line. How you doing, sir?
How's it going, everybody? How y'all doing, man? Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man, for sure. So, besides Critique Show, which we're going to get into a little bit later, you are, I would say, a producer extraordinaire, especially for this Christian hip hop space, man. So what have you had going on lately?
Well, it's kind of a loaded question. Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of it is more, I've actually been on a break, trying to get, I was going through a lot through this whole time. So some of you guys know, but yeah, me and my wife, we pretty much, we lost our baby. So it's been a month and a few weeks now, like almost a month and a half, but we're getting through it. And this whole time I just actually been on break. I mean, I'm still doing Critique Fridays, just for the sake of bringing in some type of income. But like production wise, I've actually put a lot of it at a halt. Well, I had put a lot of it on halt. Now I'm starting to get right back into the groove of it. I literally today, right before I came on here, I was on a a Zoom session, like a Zoom studio session that I was doing with an artist, and so like this was like my first real session back since everything happened. So yeah, man, I mean, actually I'm starting to get everything booked back up, and a lot of people are trying to book with me again, and I mean, that's encouraging, like seeing a lot of people respect the fact that, what we're going through, but then like be ready to work with me again as soon as I come right back in. So that's been really cool.
Yeah, man. Well, and a lot of people, man, they know you probably from working with like guys like Dylan Chase and some of the bigger names, but what's really cool is that you work with independent guys as well. So that is awesome. I mean, first of all, before I jump into the question, I totally should have said this first. I just want you guys to know that we have definitely been praying for you and your family on our end, man. I know that that experience of losing a child like that, and it's not something that I want anyone to go through. So definitely, it's good to hear that maybe there's a little bit of healing starting to happen there, man.
Yeah, I mean, man, it's something that honestly, I don't know if it gets talked about a lot. I don't think so. And the reason why I don't think so is because when I posted about what happened, I had mad crazy amount of people hit me up, and people that we know in our space, people even like bigger name people that we know, hit me up and tell me how they've been praying for me, but they can relate because they had the same situation happen to them, which was like insane to hear, because I was like, this many of you guys had this going on. I had no clue. You know what I'm saying? And I know for me, going through it has been very difficult. I mean, I'm really big on mental health issues and stuff like that. I'm a big advocate for like a big voice to talk about mental health and those Christians who struggle with it in the church. I'm really big on that. So for me, and not to mention like what I struggle with through that process, it hit me even harder, through the fact that I already struggle with depression. I already struggle with anxiety. I have insomnia. I have all these I'm diagnosed with all these types of things. And yet, an incident like this hits me and my wife, and we're both like going through it, and it does something to your mental. So hearing the amount of people that went through it, that we know was like extremely surprising. I didn't, because I didn't never heard a lot of people actually say, hey, you know, I'm going through this, which I think I understand, but I think it's good to be a little bit more vocal about it. You know what I mean? I mean, hopefully they did. I'm sure they did, like with church and everything, other church members in the community. But you know, me, it's hard because I'm still new to my church community because I came from Texas all the way to Canada now, and I'm still learning with them. And honestly, when I opened up about it on social media, it really helped me in some ways because I had a lot of people really reaching out and talking to me about it. So yeah, I mean, it's insane, man. And yeah, I'm praying for anybody who is really going through that, really, real talk. And if anybody hears this, like, and if you want to talk about it, please just hit me up. I wouldn't even hesitate to to pray for you and talk to you either. So
for sure. And I think that's one thing that is maybe interesting to lose sight of, that whenever you're in a kind of a community like Christian hip hop, right, where the focus is music, right, I think it's easy to lose sight of, man, there's real life happening at the same time, you know? So definitely, I would say anyone, you know, come together, man. Let's support each other.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like, that's the one thing that I feel like we do lack a lot. Like, I mean, here we go. I'm a big critiquer of everything in general, but like, that's the one thing. That's one of the biggest things that I've seen in Christian hip hop that I see wrong with artists in general, because I feel like, well, towards the producer, for me, from my experience being a producer, I know there's deadlines to me. I understand that. But when life hits, bro, life hits. And sometimes you can't meet those deadlines. And a lot of it is because, like, yo, man, like, for instance, like, I had mad people that I was working with before all this happened. I had big, like, opportunities for me that I had to completely miss out on. And I'm telling you, these opportunities would have made a lot for my, like, good for me and my family in a lot of ways, but I had to miss out on it because of the fact of, like, I'm in the hospital right now with my wife and grieving with her. And, you know, some of these guys hit me up and they're like, yo, deadline is in like 3 days, you know, send me this and this and that. We need this or whatever. And I'm like, bro, I can't. I am in the hospital right now. And, you know, with my wife, she's, you know, here with this happened, this and that and third. And, you know, it was cool to have a lot of that support where people understood. But there's times, man, that there's some dudes, bro, like, not even some, not some, but there's dudes, artists, you know who I'm talking about because I'm sure you're gonna hear this. And they be tripping, man. They be tripping when they need to be understood. You know, and I had one that came out, and I mean, a lot of people saw that. And it was really insane, man. So yeah, man, people need to be a lot more understanding in our circle in a lot of ways, and I think a lot of that has to deal with rap, like making music your identity,
right,
versus arts. So
yeah, let's make sure that we are living our lives Christ-like, right? I mean, let's start there. I mean, the rest of it is what it is.
Right, bro. Right. Music. There's so much more. There's life outside of the music thing, man. Like, music is great. It was given to us by the Lord Himself, and for us to be able to worship and glorify Him through it. But yet, like, that's one thing that if we put that in front of, like, grieving with somebody or being an understanding or anything like that, then I'm sure that's an idol, bro. I really believe that wholeheartedly.
Oh, 100%. And you know, check this segue out. I want to jump back over to your production stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna give you a chance to flex here. So, you know, let's make it a small idol for a minute, I guess. You know, like I was saying earlier, you know, no, but for real. So on your production side, though, like we said, you know, people know you, like, you've worked with some really great artist. I mean, you don't have to name your resume, you know, but I might ask you to a little bit. But, you know, like, I whenever I think of you, I automatically think of Dylan Chase. You know, I watched the Drifting documentary. I saw the relationship you guys have, and it's amazing, you know, that connection. Who are some other artists that you've been able to work with that you feel like there's that special bond that you have with them?
I think another one right now that I've seen is Esso the Kid. Esso is actually like my second favorite rapper, like in Christian hip hop, like without a doubt. Like I remember when I first heard him, I was like, bruh, like this is like super dope, because I never heard a UK rapper really spit when I first heard him. So when I heard him, and then the type of beats that he was on, I was like, dude, this dude is insane. Like, he's really good. And like, I had always made it a thing that I was gonna produce for him. And I think when did I get the first chance to produce for dude? Oh, he ended up moving to San Antonio, and I'm from San Antonio. So he, from the UK to random San Antonio. I was like, what? UK to San Antonio? That's a huge move. And in San Antonio, Texas at that, I would have thought he would have moved to like New York or Florida or something like that. But nah, he was like San Antonio. And I was like, okay. So I'm always like, at that time I had just moved to Oklahoma, but I was always going back home and visiting my family like every month. And we ended up connecting, and then we made a record called, and that's the thing about Esso. Esso, he'll tell you to send him beats, but the best stuff that he makes is when you're right there with him. So we did a record. I'm actually looking for it because I forgot what it was called. We did a record that it was with Drew Becks, and it was called "Where Would I Be." It was called "Where Would I Be," and that was the first record we had ever did. And we were in the studio, and we were just vibing. I forgot what we were. I don't know how many did we even. Yeah, we did multiple records. Like, we were just making multiple beats, and then like this one kind of came out and was like, "Yo, this is good." And then I remember I stayed with him for like 2 or 3 days. And I was like, I remember telling him, I was like, I want to produce your best song. Like, I want to do that. And he's like, well, you got to get in line, man, because, you know, I have a record with Lecrae, and that song is big, you know? And I was like, that's true. I forgot about that. And then, we did that record, and it did well. It did fairly well. A lot of people really liked it. And then fast forward later, we ended up, you know, he hits me up in GP. If y'all don't know who that is, GP is one who's done like a lot of beats for pretty much a lot of the whole catalog for Esso. And you know, he did all of like So It Begins, So It Continues, So It Ends. He did like pretty much all of that. And he also did what did he do? He did that record for he did a record for Tadashi. He's worked with Lecrae and stuff like that too. So he was just, GP was out there in San Antonio. I was like, yo, I really want to meet GP because I really like his production. They holler at me. They tell me, yo, come through. We're working on the album. Let's work on something. So I was like, I bet. So I came through. We collabed. We were working on Augustine's Legacy, or Augustine's Legacy. I keep pronouncing it wrong. I'm bad at pronunciation. But we were working on that, and then he's like, later on, he's like, bro, like, let's kick it. Let's work on an EP, just me and you. I was like, bet, let's do that. So that's when we did the Shine EP, and GP ended up doing one of the tracks on there, but we worked on a record called Boast, and Boast is like, ended up, like, after we did that record, Boast went on and to be his biggest song that he had ever done. so that was like that was dope, man, because we ended up hitting like what I think the record is at, it says 7.1 million streams on Spotify, and with that record, that ended up getting me a lot more recognition in the UK. I started getting hit up by a lot of UK artists. They were like, "Yo, you're OB, like, man, we heard you on the Boast record. It's amazing." Da, da, da. And then I remember like SO went back to London and he did a show there, and he performed Boast, and everybody was going nuts there. It was like a sold out crowd and everything. It was nuts. And well, actually, I don't know if it was sold out, but there was a lot of people. There was actually a lot of people there, and he was showing me. I was like, "Bruh, this is insane! Like, I can't believe that many people really went out there and were like rocking with Boast." They like knew, they were like saying all the words, and they were like, they even, because like the hook is like, "Oh, beat on the beat," and everybody was like, "Oh, beat on the beat." I was like, that's so dope to actually have that. So like, I felt like with me and Esso, when we get into the room the same way, I feel the same connection, the way I do with like when I work with Dylan. I feel like I have that type of bond too with No Big Deal, and I've felt the same thing too with Derek Minor. So those are like, those four are people that I'm like, if you got a project going, like they're always hitting me up like, Obi, send me something. Obi, send me something. You know what I'm saying? So you'll almost won't. I mean, I've been able to like produce a lot of these guys' records, and it's been like, and a lot of it has to deal with the fact of how we make records. Like they hit me up, I know their sound already, and that's the thing about them. I don't just send them beats. As like, I know No Big Deal's tone, I know Dylan Chase's tone, I know SO's tone, I know Derek, how he's gonna, attack this record. And so I have to send them what I know that they're going to rap on, rather than just be like, hey, here's a trap beat. You know what I'm saying? So, and that takes a lot of work to actually develop, as a producer. It takes ears. You know what I mean? You got to have an ear for things. And if you don't, then you're just going to keep sending the same type of trap beats, and you're not going to really build a bond and connection with these guys. So yeah, you got to take your time as a producer, man, to build that type of bond with artists.
For sure. Well, let's talk about independent artists a little bit, guys that are coming up in this space, because I know that I've known some guys who have gotten production from you, and obviously that's a huge opportunity for these guys. But I'm sure on your end, there's certain expectations or certain criteria that you're looking for as well. So if I'm an independent artist and I'm like, man, I'd love to get a beat from OB, like, one, what's the way that I should approach you? Because I'm guessing I shouldn't just tag you on social media and say, man, shoot me a beat to my email or whatever. So how do I approach you, and what are you looking for in terms of if you're going to provide a beat to an artist that's maybe not as established?
See, this is where artists need to, one, listen to these podcasts so they can hear what I'm about to say. And then the other thing is, artists, they need to learn how to read posts when I say certain things. Like, some people just go and like posts on Instagram and they don't even know what I just put in the caption. I'll post like a batch of beats, right? And I'll put email me. That's the key word. Email me to, and I give the email, or I'll put link in my bio, hit me up there. Or there's those rare occasions where I'm like, and most of the time it's because I know they're going to go quick. I'll say, you can DM me right now. So preferably, if I don't say DM me, you just email me. Just email me. I always provide an email. You can go to, like I said, the link in my bio, or you can go to onbeatmusic.net, and you'll find, like, if you go all the way down, it's my link tree. You can go all the way down and you'll see like the little envelope for the email. You can email me right there. If you need the email, it's onbeatmusicrmg@gmail.com. You can just hit me up there. And the thing is, I'm not fairly, like, I'm not gonna, like, some people tell me, like, man, I don't think I could be able to work with you. And I think a lot of it is like because they don't think they're that good or anything like that. To be honest, man, I'm gonna be honest, I've sold beats to people that, and a lot of it has been because I didn't know how bad they were, or they like weren't as talented and stuff like that. They just hit me up for a beat, and then I'll sell it. And you know, I have those occasions, but then there's occasions too where I'll be like, hey, let me listen to some of your music first, and that's usually when I have time to be able to do that. You know what I'm saying? So I'll ask them, and then they'll send me it. And I've even refused at times to sell people beats because I'm like, yeah, man, you need to go back to the drawing board and work. I feel like I'm just going to be stealing your money at this point. And I mean, I'll be honest with them, about that. But, you know, I really, some people ask me, like, in a recent interview, some people had asked me, like, Obi, who do you want to work with right now that you haven't worked with yet? And I told them, and I posted this on Twitter, I told them that, you know, I've always wanted to work with the big names. Whenever, like, I first started, I was always wanting to work with, like, the Lecraes and the Andy Minios, all that stuff. But now I just want to make those people. Now I want to discover those people and make them like the new Lecrae, the new Andy Mineo, or the new whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? I want to help develop those artists, and that's one reason why I have the Critique Friday show too. So if you're an independent artist and you want an OnBeat music beat, just holler at me. Be sure that you have a budget, though. That's all I'm asking.
There you go. Yeah, man. Well, and like you said, I think, you know, anyone that's watched your Critique Friday shows, which we're going to jump into here in just a second, but I think they can see that heart in there as well, man. You know, again, guys, join me on the Trackstars Podcast Network phone line. It is OnBeat Music, OB. Man, you were talking about hitting you up on social media. What's the best places for them to hit you up or just follow you? I would say follow and support is the primary thing there.
Right. I mean, you can follow me mainly on Instagram and Twitter. I have Facebook. I mean, I have people that like my page on there. But I feel like now Facebook has turned into, like, and I said this the other day, I was like, it's turned into like a senior citizens like home or something like that.
Oh, it's way different. Way different.
I feel like Facebook just became a bunch of old angry people now, and that are just debating, arguing all the time. Like, you can't post not even a funny thing without somebody just in your comments and grilling you, bro. So I mean, so if you want to follow me on Facebook, if you're one of those people, you can follow me on Facebook, but I'm not gonna debate with you. The other thing is, like, mainly, follow me on Instagram at OnBeat Music, and follow me on Twitter at OnBeat Music. I like Twitter a lot. That's where I'm most vocal. Instagram, you know, I'm there posting stuff and doing stories and stuff like that too. So
yeah, man. So Critique Fridays, man. Talk to us about how this show just kind of came to be.
And I started it actually before. Well, Critique Fridays officially started about 2.5 years ago. Probably 2018. I want to say that it officially started with Rapzilla, but it didn't even have a name. I was just like, hey, send me your music, I'm gonna listen to it. And I would do it on Facebook back when, before Facebook was a big old, you know, war zone. But I would actually get a lot of people on there, man. Like, there was like one time I had like 800 people in a live. And I was like, this thing got shared crazy amounts of, and a lot of it was because I was bringing people on like, and at the time, obviously it was before Corona and stuff. So I was like traveling a lot, and I had, you know, people like Dylan on there. I had people like other friends and other artist friends that were just coming through. And then I had like a Grammy Award winning engineer with me one time, and we were like, he's a friend of mine. Shout out my boy Malix. He's a Grammy Award winning engineer / producer as well, and he was there with me doing the show, and it was just like it was just all fun and dope. It was just like I would spend like maybe an hour at the most, and it got like crazy, man. I was like, dude, I had like almost 800 people in this one. That was like the last one that I did, and then I got like really busy. So I kind of like put it on the back burner a little bit. I would do it here and there a few times, but I really loved it, but I just couldn't handle it at the time just because of the amount of stuff that I was doing. I was doing touring. I was doing all that stuff. Just started DJing, was like an in-house producer at RMG. That had just started for me. And then I was like I was dating my now wife at the time. So, it was just like craziness, so I couldn't really keep up with it. And then like after things had settled down in 2018, I ended up starting it. I approached Rapzilla about it, and I was like, yo, I had this idea for a critique thing that I was doing a while back. I would love to do it with you guys if y'all are willing. And they're like, yeah, that'd be great. So we fired it up one Friday, and we had like a lot of people started to submit. Like that Friday, we had over 200 people just submit. It was insane. And then it went on from there. It just started building and building and building, and then yeah, that's basically what it's been.
So Friday nights, what time does it start? Because I know it runs for a while, but what time does it start, and where all can people tune in? Because I know it's available on several different platforms.
Sure. So it starts at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I go, man, honestly, like I go. Last night we went till 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I literally, yeah.
you got that real man strength, dude.
Well, I mean, like I said, I have insomnia, bro. So I mean, I stay up, and I'm a producer, so I'm always like night owl type stuff, and it's not good. It's not good, I admit. Friday is usually like that day that I'm almost all nighter type stuff, but yeah, man, we do that, and you can submit. Now we have like a Linktree website, website / Linktree, whatever. So you can go to critiquefridays.com actually now, and you can email me there. There's a video that tells you the email, and there's a video that explains like about the priority list, and I've had people get mad about that whole situation too, because they're all like, "Oh, you're a Christian, it's supposed to be free," and it's like, no, it's not like that. So yeah, man. Yeah, you can go there, email. There's a button there at the bottom of the link tree that has a little envelope, and you can email your song through there. So
okay, and then it's on YouTube. I know you can see it on Twitter, right? Sorry, yeah. I mean,
yeah. So like we're on Rapzilla's Instagram, we're on Rapzilla's YouTube, Rapzilla's Facebook, Rapzilla's Twitch channel. By the way, like, man, I'm really trying to build that up because I got more stuff coming up with that. But Rapzilla's Twitch channel, and also on Twitter. On Rapzilla's Twitter and Periscope, because they're pretty much one and the same now. So
right,
yeah,
awesome. So make sure you guys tune in Friday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern. So I'm again that independent artist that maybe I've not been doing this real long, and I'm debated about, man, this is really cool. I'd like to, get my music on there, but I'm not sure. Tell me why I need to submit to OB in the Critique Friday show.
Well, man, like really, a lot of it has to do with I feel like we get laughed at a lot. I mean, can we agree on that? Like Christian hip hop from like mainstream or like even non-Christians, I mean, they might look at perceive it.
Maybe I don't. Yeah, I would say more often than not, they don't even know we exist. So,
well, that's the thing. That's the thing. And when you say Christian hip hop, they're like, what? And then a lot of them would say, "Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about," and some of them would spew out the names that we already know. like the Lacroix or NF, or or you'll get those, and I remember getting those where it was like, oh, you mean like Toby Mac and or DC Talk, and I'm like, no, that's no, not at all, not like that. So or some of them even told me Kirk Franklin. I've even had those tell me that, and it's just kind of weird. I'm like, man, it's cool, whatever, that they know those, but they have no idea how many. And you being part of Trackstars, how much talent we have. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like, man, with this show, with Critique Fridays, I want to display that, because through Critique Fridays, and mind you, I've done it for 2.5 years now, bruh. Through Critique Fridays, I have found hundreds and hundreds of new people I have never heard of in my life. You know what I'm saying? And it's been so awesome to hear that we have real depth and quality at that. And that's another thing that I really want to tackle, because we are known to have horrible, and I say it a lot on my show, horrible mixing engineering, and I really try to tackle that. I get on people about that. I get on people about their names. Like, I am tired of the cheesy Christian hip hop names that we have. I'm telling you, this past month, I want to say month or month and a half, I had about 4 to 5 people, different people, have the name Prodigal or Prodigal Son as a Christian hip hop name, and I'm like, bro, this is, this can't be a thing for us, man. We need to be those people who set the bar and standard. I think Christian hip hop needs to be that. I think I had No Big Deal on the show. He actually popped into the live, and he was there chilling, and he was even helping me critique some of these guys. And I brought him on the live, and he said that same exact thing. He's like, we need to be those where the lost people are coming over, and they're like, yo, and they're marveling at the fact of what we're doing and why we're doing it, like pretty much why we're doing it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He said that back in the day, he mentioned how, like, people like Michelangelo, people like Beethoven and Bach, and all these people were believers, and people were marveling at the fact that, hey, these are they were like the trendsetters, basically. You know what I mean? So he's like, we need to get back to that thing of us being the trendsetter, of us being the ones that or the ones with the quality, the ones with the talent, the ones that are ahead of the curve and not behind, like so many have said about us. They've said, oh, Christian hip hop is always like 2-3 years behind. I don't believe that anymore. I do believe that there's a lot that I have heard a lot of artists where it's like, okay, I've heard this like a year ago or 2 years ago, but I would say there's a lot of artists that are really pushing the bar, which I really like. People like a No Big Deal, Andy Mineo, even Dylan Chase. I've heard a lot of people just do that in our circle. So, but yeah, man. I mean, the reason why I really urge people to submit to Critique Fridays is because I want us to care about our art and our craft and do it in excellence. Shout out to my bro Derek Miner, who always talks about doing things with greatness. We're meant to do things with greatness and for the glory of God. You know what I'm saying? So that's right. What I try to push people to do. You know what I'm saying? So
for sure. And guys, when you submit, one thing I will say is make sure that you can handle some criticism. It does not mean that, if you get told, hey, work on this a little bit, it doesn't mean you're trash, go stop, or whatever. It means keep getting better, right? I think that's a problem that we have in this space too, is people don't know how to handle that feedback.
No, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that and I know from being, up and coming and stuff, I had a lot of yes men around me, like my family. my family was like, I mean, you growing up and you're young, being a Christian hip hop art and you know, recording for the first time and all this stuff like that, and then you show your art to your family. They're like, oh, that's good, that's nice. You know what I'm saying? So you think, and then your friends, they're like, oh man, that's dope. You know what I'm saying? Da da da. But then like, you don't really get the real criticism like you would like stepping on stage for the first time or things like that. I remember the feeling of stepping on stage for the first time. I remember the first time I stepped on stage in front of a huge crowd due to a Christian hip hop event. It was a beat battle. It was a Rapzilla beat battle in 2012, and I got eliminated first round. You know, so I know what it's like to go down, to take the L, but what I call them the L in life is a lesson. You know what I'm saying? I use my L's as lessons. So yeah, because I say this every time, every week on the show. I say, don't look at it as an L as a loss. Look at it as a lesson. So take your L's from today and create W's for tomorrow. So I say that a lot on the show, because that's all it did. I could have easily walked away from that battle bitter against the producer that beat me. I could have been bitter towards Rapzilla because I'm like, man, I flew all the way out here just to get knocked out in the first round, and you know what I mean? Like, I could have been bitter, but I was like, nah, I'm gonna work hard. I'm gonna be like, all right, bet they didn't like what I did. Fine, I'm gonna show them that I can do this. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't no chip on my shoulder. It was like, I'm gonna work. I'm gonna work, and I'm gonna get better. And it did, man. It helped me. And I had people that I was submitting my stuff to, like Andy Mineo, back when he was like called Sea Light. I had stuff I sent him back in the day, and when I won the Andy Mineo competition in 2014, I remember we met up in San Antonio for a show, and he invited me backstage and whatnot, and we were talking. He's like, bro, man, you've grown so much. I remember when you first started sending me beats. He goes, I'm gonna be honest, like, man, those beats, they weren't good, man. And he's like, and it was hard for me to not be, he's like, I didn't really want to be the one to tell you that, but I had to, you know what I mean? And I was like, I understand, bro. I understand. And you need that. You need that type of stuff. I remember having, shout out DJ Official, rest in peace to him. But he was one that would critique a lot of my stuff too. T. Wyla as well was somebody that I would send my stuff to get to critique. And mind you, these are people that I didn't know personally until like I was like sending my stuff to them, and they were like growing and building with me. It was really dope. My boy Cadence from Die Daily too, he was one that I would send my beats to as well. And you know, it just kind of went from there. I still get my stuff critiqued. Like me, I still get my stuff critiqued. My wife is one of my biggest critics. You know what I mean? So, and not only that, like just a lot of other artists that I send my stuff to, they still critique my stuff. So, you know, I think it's important that we need to get our stuff critiqued and not have those same yes men around us. We need to have those people be like, yo, man, this isn't good. Maybe go back, work on this, and don't. And if you can't take that, if you can't take criticism, or you can't even take somebody, because some people will laugh at your stuff. If you can't even take that, then you probably shouldn't be doing music. Music is probably not the way to go for you. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah, and I would say another thing, if I'm an artist considering this, like one thing to really think about that I've noticed just from hopping in and just being a part of the chat is, I mean, you have your one-offs, but overall there's a lot of people that tune in on a weekly basis to your show, and there's like this community that's developed, you know, just from the people that are watching, right? And those people, they'll talk and they'll provide feedback, but not only that, but they start supporting these artists, right? So that's another bonus for another big reason to get your music in there, because you might develop some new fans as well.
Bro, so the man, there's one person that has came consistently back almost every week on the show, and I gotta give a huge shout out to him, is New Tone. If you know who New Tone is, I don't know, have you heard him before? Okay, so yeah, he spells his name weird. Nutone. So Nutone, I think he wrote around a lot with like Brian Trejo and all them. Back like with Kingdom Music. But Nutone, I remember the first time I heard this dude. And I was like, yo man, you gotta work on your stuff. This dude was trying to sing his own hooks. It was like the mixing was horrible. And he remembers, he's talked about it. And it went from him doing that to like I started seeing he was getting like, you know, I rate, if you know like Critique Fridays, I do a rate systems from like 1 to 10. And he was getting like 2s and all this stuff. and this dude went from that to this dude has been winning a lot Song of the Night, a lot from just submitting to Critique Fridays now. He heeded a lot of my advice, everything that I told him, and he stepped up his mixing. He went as far as buying new studio equipment, you know, investing into features, and this dude has probably an album like a week. It's insane. But he's literally he's so good, man. Like he's actually gotten so much better. The way he's rapped, the way he's writing now, it's really, really dope to see. So that's one person I gotta give a huge shout out to, because it's been like I think from the first time that he submitted was probably about a year and a half ago, maybe almost 2 years now, but a year and a half ago I remember him coming through and submitting. He even said it, he's like, within a year, you know, OB's taught me so much just through the show. And you know, him, that was one of them. Another artist was Curtis Hoppy. Curtis Hoppy was another one that first stepped up into the show, and I was like, yo man, you gotta work on this. And then now he went from like me really dogging on him to this dude's now touring at times with No Big Deal, and has a deal with I think he has an RMG amplified deal, if I'm not mistaken. You know what I'm saying? So he went from like getting a low rating to like, you know, a record deal. The same thing with the new up and comer Swayze. I don't know if you heard of him yet, but Swayze's, oh my gosh, this kid straight up was like spamming the chat when he first stepped in there. It was like, yo, listen to my record, I'm the best, da da da. And then like he came through, I was like, yo, you need to work on this and that. And the dude went from like giving me some of the worst quality that I heard to like he won the A3C event. You know what I mean? And he's starting to do records with No Big Deal and things like that too. So he actually got a deal with RMG Amplify and stuff like that too. So it was nuts, man. Like it was dope to see what the type of feedback. Not even just me, but the chat. The chat is always huge too. Like you said, the community. We had a lot of people like just meeting on there. I like engineers, producers, you know, other artists. People are featuring with each other on there, and then they all come together every Friday, and we're all just finding new artists, listening to new people, connecting with new, like following new artists, new even graphic designers, man. And to the point where now people are we're giving away engineering because people are like sponsoring gifts and stuff like that for the Song of the Night winner and all that type of stuff. So it's dope, man. I love the Critique Fridays community and in the chat. It's just great.
For sure. So if you're an artist, guys, and you're listening, Critique Fridays, strongly consider. I would even push you to do more than strongly consider. I would push you to go in there and get it, because not only, you know, all the list that we've already talked about of, you know, the pluses to doing it, you know, getting in front of new people, getting that feedback that's going to help push you. OB, I've said it in the chat before, one of the most genuine guys that we have in this space. So I think anything that you can get, whenever you get an opportunity to interact with them, you do it, you know. So make sure you guys tune in on Friday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern, and just be a part of it and grow and get better, because that's what we want to see for you guys as artists. So
exactly.
Yeah, man.
But thank you. I appreciate that, man. I mean, when you comment like that, like that means a lot. You know, it helps me too, because I've got a lot of flack on there, too.
I get it, like, man.
Yeah, so I appreciate you, man, just for saying stuff like that. And real quick, I gotta plug this. You gotta go get some Critique Fridays merch. Go get that.
Oh, dude, it's Hector did that new logo.
Oh,
right?
He killed it, man. Well, yeah, he killed it, bro. And the thing is, like, Hector knows what I like. I'm really big on like Supreme and like sneakers and stuff like that. So like I'm a sneakerhead, man. And so like the logo, he did like the little Mario joint and he like mirrored it around me, but the shirt had like the Supreme box logo on it, and I was like, oh, this is dope. And Chad posted it up on I think it was Chad. No, Steven from Rapzilla. He posted it up on the website so people can order the shirt. Well, we didn't know that was like a copyright thing was gonna happen with that. We didn't think about it. They didn't even think about it. They were just like, oh, we just need to get this shirt up. But people actually were some people actually were able to get that version of the shirt. Like we ended up getting a copyright flag, and the shirt got taken down and everything. Like all the merch that we had up there got taken down, and we're like, what happened? Like what's going on? Like what's up with the site? Nobody's able to buy a shirt right now. And it literally said that, and it was like for a day and a half or two that it was able to be up and people were able to order one. But after those days, it got like cut off for like a whole week. And then Hector went back and redid it a little bit. He ended up putting my logo on the shirt instead of the Supreme logo. And now it's back up, so you can cop it and everything. But like there was a lot of people that were able to, well, not a lot, but there was like a very select few of people that were able to cop that version with the Supreme on it. So like a lot of them got it and it had like the Supreme on it. So I was like, oh, y'all got like a very rare version of the shirt. So yeah, now it's back up and you can get the version with actually my logo on it. But I mean, shout out to Hector, man, because he did a great job, and they came through to do that to help. It was like a more so of benefit towards my family. Like I said, like with just, I hadn't been able to work for like a month and a half really. And that was, I was really grateful for Rapzilla and Hector, cause they really came through for me on that. And it was for my birthday present, cause my birthday they dropped it on my birthday. So
that's what's up. Well, OB, man, thank you so much for taking time out. I mean, I know you're a busy dude, so we appreciate you jumping on here. I feel like there's so much more stuff that we could hit on, and so maybe we can get you to come back on the show in the future.
Yeah, man, I'm sorry, I talk a lot.
No, you're good, man. I love it. I love it, man. So,
yeah.
So we'll look to do that, man, because I think there's other stuff. I think even just some of the conversations that have taken place, a little bit on the show with some of that stuff in the chat. Like, dude, there was some stuff that I was like, that could be a really good conversation. So maybe we can make that happen soon.
Of course, man. Just let me know.
For sure. Well, guys, thank you for tuning in to this month's Industry Insider interview. Again, with OnBeat Music. Make sure you go check him out. Support Critique Fridays on Rapzilla. Just support him, the production, everything that he has doing. Guys, you want to go and be a part of it, so go do that. Thank you for tuning into this interview. Again, shout out to our episode sponsors, including the bookkeeper247.com for helping make this interview happen, and we will see you guys on the next podcast.